Danger Dolan. Darkcaster95 says, an important thing to remember is that Blizzard cancelled the 5.5 patch so they could have more people working on the expansion. So, since there won't be a major patch until Warlords of Draenor, they won't be able to wait an entire year to release it because a lot of people wouldn't wait that long for new content. My guess is April, May of 2014. Okay, so now that BlizzCon is officially over, all the features have been announced, all the art and zone designs and the character models have been previewed, how long until this expansion gets released to live servers? That's the big question everyone is currently asking. Now, Tom Chilton, the games director, was asked this very question at BlizzCon during one of the intermission panels. Check it out.
But typically after you announce something, it's another year, but we're at patch 5.4 now.
Right.
What content do you have planned between now and then?
Well, any content that we do between now and the expansion is going to delay the expansion by exactly the amount of time it took us to make that content. So, it's like one of those be careful what you wish for things for players. We're completely focused on making the expansion, and we're going to try our best to deliver that as soon as we possibly can. Hopefully on a shorter cycle than what players are maybe imagining, but you never know. We'll have to see.
So typically on your cycle it would be winter of next year. Does that mean the goal is to try to bring it into summer or spring?
Well, certainly the goal is for before that, but we'll see. It is very hard for us to predict.
Now, naturally, a lot of forum posters have read too much into this. They think he's obviously talking, we're going to release it by March or April. It's complete bullcrap. You can clearly see that he intends to release this expansion faster than the time it took to release Pandaria. And in saying that, that means by next September, well before that period. Now, Mr. Pandaria had a 6 to 7 month beta period starting late March through to September. And that is quite a long time. It's over half a year. And now, based on all the features announced for this expansion, the Warlords of Draenor, the item squish, garrisons, the huge raid tier, and the amount of dungeons and the scenarios, it may shape up to be just as long of a beta period for Warlords than it was for Mists. So people hoping for a very quick expansion may be disappointed. It really depends on if they can actually pull it off. But when the beta starts for Warlords, that's going to be an indication of the potential release date for that expansion. For instance, if the beta was in January, that'd make it good for a July release next year. Then of course February, you got August, March, that's the same as Mr. Pandaria, that's September, but that's very highly unlikely. If everything in the beta goes smoothly, they could release it quite fast. But the fact is, most of the time with these betas, they find huge bugs or they got to fix a lot of things. Like for Pandaria, they had to redo the entire starting experience for the Jade Forest because it just didn't live up to their expectations. Which is why today you got that huge epic battle with gunships and catapults and stuff. 5,000 Alliance troops. Of course, what I find strange about all this is that in the last few months, they've been touting the 40% increase in their team size at Blizzard, in addition to the devs who migrated from Project Titan, which has been delayed. So if they'd like to create annual expansions and they've got this huge team size to do it, I mean, it's very possible considering all the content they've kind of not really focused on now, like the lack of dungeons, the no new race or class, where they're focusing on the actual model revamps. They don't even have scaled legacy 5-mans or raids. I feel like they're focusing on what they can do in a very concise, productive manner. And the speed in which this new expansion is going to be released will dictate whether they can pull that off. But I personally wouldn't expect to see it until July, August. Unless they started the beta by the end of this year, but there would have to be a lot of content. Right now, they've got all the aesthetics done, they've got all the zones half completed or even just completely completed, but are the quests there? Are the dungeons and the raids done? I mean, they've got the item squish up and running, but are there bugs there? All of this stuff is going to take a lot of time, and I do not want them to rush this. If they have to take a long time, if they have to take 12 months to get this thing perfect, then so be it. I would rather they take all the time in the world, polish everything, instead of releasing it as if their company was owned by EA. Cough, the old Republic, cough. And there's one last thing I want to bring up before I end this video, and that is patch 5.5 and how Tom Chilton says he just doesn't have enough time to do it, because any content they do before the expansion releases will just delay it. I think that is garbage. They could release something incredibly small. They could release something to do with story. They could release some scenarios, because apparently they take no time at all. You think about the Halion patch back in Wrath. that was a single raid boss, and like when people think back on it now, they're like, oh, it's just some stupid single boss filler patch, but it was something. It's better than absolutely nothing, which is what we're looking at right now. And the important thing to remember is that we don't know exactly when this expansion will release. There's no annual pass. People not in the beta cannot play this new expansion until it is released on live servers. Without a filler patch, no matter what size, people will get bored. That I can promise you. That's it for this chat box. If you'd like to see me cover a BlizzCon topic really quick, I suggest you leave a comment below. That's it. Have a good one.